So what shifted for you when you stopped trying to fix your body and just really started living in your body?
Yeah. I mean, immediately I'm like, oh, an exhale, right? There's just, I think that what shifted, yeah, when I stopped trying to fix my body, right? It's when I stopped seeing my body as the problem, right? And recognizing, oh, my body is actually not the problem at all. My body is a gift. The problem is the conditioning, societal beliefs, all of the nonsense that I have, through being a human in this world been fed, right? That's okay. How can I soften and shift my focus, right, to what we're talking about, like connecting with myself first before that external world? And that's huge. And yeah, I mean, I think for me, one of the biggest things that continues to come when I'm not trying to fix my body and instead really inhabiting my body is ease.
Hello, my extraordinary women friends. We are just a few months away from the 11th annual Extraordinary Women Ignite conference this November, and I can feel the fire building. This year's theme, Rooted Flame, is all about anchoring into the truth of who you are while rising boldly into your next level visibility, voice, and impact. It's about burning away what no longer serves and standing in your light unapologetically. If you've been feeling the call to raise up and lead more powerfully, Ignite is your room. And now is the time to grab your early bird ticket at CamiGellner.com/ignite. Today's guest on Extraordinary Women Radio embodies this rooted flame in every way. And she's going to be one of our speakers at Extraordinary Women Ignite this year. Emily Wishall is a dear soul sister in this work, an embodiment coach, certified rolfer, and author of Radical Embodiment, a practical guide to celebrating the skin you are in. She helps women stop sitting on the sidelines of their lives and start living with sensuality, strength, and radiance. Her story is deeply honest, and her message about coming home to your body is one every woman needs to hear. Let's meet Emily Wishall. Well, welcome to Extraordinary Women Radio, Emily. I am super excited to have you here today.
Thanks, Cami. I'm excited to be here and grateful and excited to get to just connect with you in this way and see
I know.
what comes from our conversation.
Exactly. I love just getting to know people better. I mean, that's the best thing about getting to be a podcast host is getting to know people better.
Mhm.
And you're going to be a speaker at Extraordinary Women Ignite come
Yes.
November. And I'm super excited to have you on the stage as well.
Thank you. Me too. Me too. I'm looking forward to that event. I think it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. It's 11th year of hosting that event, so I've been doing it a while,
Congratulations to
and
you.
yeah, yeah, and it's my favorite thing I do all year long. It's just, they have a room full of women that are coming together with their voices and finding what they're wanting to raise up into the world and go out
Yes.
and do it, and
Yes.
it's just such wonderful energy, and
It's so
I think
important
you're
too.
yeah, right. It's like that community of women coming together is important. I believe that women's wisdom is the medicine our earth needs. And I think this is all about just raising up those voices and raising up the work that women are doing.
Mm.
So if you are listening and you're tuning in, go out and check it out. It's at CamiGellner.com/ignite. It's going to be a great event, November 6th through 8th.
And you
So
know what's
let's start.
fun
Go
that
ahead. Go ahead.
that it's the 11th year in November, which is the 11th month. That
Yeah.
feels
1-1,
11.
1-1.
Yeah, yeah,
To get
yeah.
the
Oh my
ones
goodness.
going, and I love one numbers, and I'll have to remember that because it's when you can do something on at 11:11 during when you find the timing of all of that, it's always good to kind of tap into that
Yes.
energy. I've done that a number of times because we were able to hit that with November often, so I
Oh,
like
you're right.
it.
That's cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I want to start with some of your story and just get to know
Sure.
you a little bit better. So tell us a bit of the story that got you to this point, but specifically, was there a moment when your body really spoke to you? Because you do a lot of body work, and that's what you're going to be bringing to Ignite. So,
Mhm.
um, when your body spoke to you and you just really finally listened and heard it, is there a moment that you can think of that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few, but there was one particular that was so impactful. I mean, the brief little snippet of my story for background in the like the short window would be most of my life I hated my body. At
Mhm.
age 8, I felt like I was fat, and
Oh,
didn't, yeah, which is insane,
right.
insane. And I have so much love and compassion, right, for my 8-year-old self. And I know I'm not alone in that. And, didn't have this language back then. But what I made that mean at 8, 9, 10 years old was I wasn't acceptable or lovable or X, Y, because of how I felt like my body wasn't right, right? I thought it was too
Hmm.
big.
Hmm.
So sharing that most of my life then was around how can I get skinny? How can I fix my body, right? Like trying to fit into this mode
Yeah.
and doing all these external things. It was all very external focused. And one of the biggest moments for me that was a huge shift in recognition was I was out for a walk one evening. And I never will forget this sensation. I was just walking and I noticed all of a sudden, I was like, wow, I'm walking. It feels so easeful. Like it feels so effortless. I feel like graceful. And I did a little, check in body scan and I realized like, wow, I'm like perfectly aligned. Like I'm aligned. Like I'm upright. And I realized, wow, it's so easy. And as I had that recognition, that's when for me I had a huge emotional release, like tears immediately followed.
Yeah.
Because for the first time for me, I had this realization that through my posture, I had been pretending that I was okay, that I was good, right? Like we're taught this quote unquote good posture of like, shoulders back, chest up, stomach in. That's so rigid. That's
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
efforted. That's so not sustainable. Our body,
Right.
we're not taught how to like connect into our, more inherent true alignment. And for me, I unknowingly put on this perceived good posture as my way of presenting myself to the world. Like, I'm okay. I got it all together. I'm good. When the truth was, I wasn't feeling that way internally, right? So it was so inauthentic in regards
Hmm.
like how I showed up. And again, it was an unconscious pattern until it was conscious. And I had this shift of realizing like, I don't know if I can cuss on this or not. I'll say
Oh, totally.
holiness, holy wow. Of of oh my gosh, like I feel so supported. I'm so upright. I have great posture, but there's no effort. Like my body for the first time was finding its inherent strength and support. And
Hmm.
for me, I felt like, oh, I can show up authentically and vulnerably. I can be real to how I am internally, right? I don't need to like perform or pretend because also I have that connection to that inherent strength. So that was a huge, huge moment. And I'm happy to like piece any of that out if that would be supportive for you.
Yeah, I think it would be useful to go a little
Mhm.
deeper because I think what I'm hearing is that it was more of an internal
Mhm.
connection of okayness versus an externally projected. Is that true?
1000%. Totally.
Okay.
Totally. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
such a visceral felt sense of,
Hmm.
oh wow, there's actually, and it all just came out. It had related to some of the work, I was doing and healing that I was doing for sure. But it was totally an internal shift. It was this sense of, wow, we can actually connect and find our body does have this inherent strength and support. And when we can like receive that and learn how to receive that, learn how to have that more natural upright posture, which isn't performative, it's not
Hmm.
efforted.
Hmm.
um there's an ease, and again this sense of, yeah, I could be open and true to my heart in a way that
Hmm.
was sustainable because there's support below, and I don't
Yeah.
have to pretend that I have it all together.
Right. Right. You're
Yeah,
allowing it to be. I mean, you're allowing everything to be, and there's no pretending in the mix of that.
yeah,
I love that so much, and it's such a good lesson because you just like, I mean, there's lots going on around us right now, and we can get caught up into the energies around us,
yeah,
and we can get caught up in our own internal, what's anything that's going on internally, and if we're trying to just pretend, people see people see that we feel that we don't feel connected to it.
exactly.
So really just tuning in. So tell us how you got there. I mean, what was the the breakthrough for you that really shifted?
Yeah, and I will say it's not like just to name this. I think it might be obvious, but I want to like feels important to name. It, had that experience, and it wasn't like then, oh wow, then I went on always just feeling
Right.
like, oh, I'm just so authentic and open, right? It was a
Right.
continual practice, but at that point in time, I was receiving for the second time the Rolfing 10 series.
Mm-hmm.
The word Rolfing comes from Dr. Ida Rolf. It's a weird word if people haven't heard it. ROLF. She called the work structural integration. So it is manual hands-on work, working specifically with the fascia and the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And I was halfway through that series when I had this moment. And so I was receiving external input into my body in regards to helping my bones find that more natural alignment. And I think that was a huge key. And that was a big key in regards to like what I started to then train in and get curious about was this connection that was so clear to me. Like we always say, the mind and body are connected, but I
Mm-hmm.
find though, even if we believe that, sometimes things are still disjointed or we're not really bringing them together. And it was such a clear sense of, wow, as my physical body's shifting, there's old patterns releasing and there's this new way of being, it completely shifted mentally, emotionally, energetically, how I related to myself and how I related to others. So that led me down the path of, learning more about like coaching, learning more about what embodiment is, how to inhabit your body. And I don't know that if I really answered your question there, but that's,
No, I
um,
think you did. I
yeah.
think it's such an exploration of coming through and letting our bodies give us clues of about what's happening. And I'm touching my throat chakra right now because I was going to tell
Mhm.
a story
Mhm.
years ago when I was first getting on stages, and I was I had a lot of fear around stages
Mm.
years ago, and all kinds of stories I've told about that. But one that I don't often tell, but I actually just told this past weekend when we were doing our Soul Speaks from the Stage retreat, was a story of when how we hold things in our bodies. And I went to a yoga class with a very famous yoga teacher, and she was talking about how we hold things in our bodies. And she was saying there's oftentimes I'll be doing a class and people will cry in my classes, and I'm like, I've never cried in a yoga class.
Mhm.
And so we start doing this, and we're like going through all the different chakras, and we get to the throat chakra, and I'm laying there, and she's talking about the throat chakra, and my it's like I had this like burst of energy come from my
Mm.
throat, and with
Oh,
that came just the tears that came. I mean, literally, I had just said I've never cried during a yoga class,
isn't that funny?
and
Your body's
you
like,
know
ha ha
20
ha.
minutes later I'm laying there just sobbing, right? Because I've got this breakthrough of this energy. So it's like we can hold tensions and energy in our body that that keep us all contained. And when we can
Exactly.
let that go, that comes from the inside out, and that really helps us really
Exactly.
just embody where we are in that
Yeah.
space.
I love that story. And I think
Yeah.
it's like, I think it's also funny, right? That you had just
Yeah.
been like, "Phew, I've never had a release, right? And then
Exactly.
boom, like not even
Yeah.
20 minutes later. Yeah. And I think that like we're not consciously holding it usually, right? I think the more we
Yeah.
tune in, the more
Yeah.
we
We can start to
enhance how
notice
we
it. Right.
exactly
Hmm.
sooner.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's key. I mean, it's key for me to have practices I do that help me. And almost call it like sloughing off like what you said around, right? In all the energies, things happening around us internally, life's a lot. Life's going to
Yeah.
continue to be life in, right? And our
Yeah.
world is there's a lot happening. And especially if you're
Yeah.
someone who's empathic and tends to really feel that, your body feels that. And
Yeah.
it does when we're tight, constricted, holding that energetic, physical, emotional component, it's all interconnected. And it's like we can come from any of those lanes, those lenses to
Hmm.
support in unwinding, which will totally shift. I know you were just also about presence a lot, right? Our presence, our
Yeah.
field, our sense of being home in ourselves, which
Hmm.
naturally allows feelings of deeper connection, deeper
Yeah.
enjoyment even. Yeah.
Yeah, because people are really they draw people are drawn to us from our energy all day long.
Mhm.
How we resonate really matters. And if we've got messiness happening inside of us, they're going to feel that. They won't be able to name it, but they'll be able to
Exactly.
feel it.
Yes.
And it's the same thing. It's like, wanting to be able to say, okay, how do I keep my vessel clean?
Mhm. I
And
love that. I love that. I think of like energetic hygiene. That's the word that
yeah,
comes when you say, how to
exactly.
keep it clean, which we think about hygiene in so many other parts of our lives, but like, what about our energetic hygiene?
Yeah,
How are we
absolutely.
tending to that?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I teach some things called what I call the R factor, and it ties right back to how we resonate. So it goes from it's we're looking at our how we take care of our mind, how do we take care of our body, both physically and energetically, how do we
Mm-hmm.
spirit, however you spirit, and then how do you have what's the community that's supporting you, and that really helps how we resonate. So it's
I
just
love
something
that.
that I teach, and I'll definitely be talking about that at Ignite. But that's why I think your work around body is so important, because this is the work that we do to help keep our bodies clean. That hygiene, I love it so much. I like that word.
Hmm.
So what shifted for you when you stopped trying to fix your body and just really started living in your body?
Yeah. I mean, immediately I'm like, oh, an exhale. Right. There's just, I think that what shifted, yeah, when I stopped trying to fix my body, right? It's when I stopped seeing my body as the problem, right? And
Yeah.
recognizing, oh, my body is actually not the problem at all. My body's a gift. The problem is the conditioning, societal beliefs, all of the nonsense that I have, through being a human in this world, been fed, right? That's okay. How can I soften and shift my focus, right? To the, yeah, what we're talking about, like connecting with myself first before
Mhm.
that external world. And that's huge. And yeah, I mean, I think for me, one of the biggest things that continues to come when I'm not trying to fix my body and instead really inhabiting my body is ease. Because when we're in our body and we're actually present there, inhabiting it, we're in the present moment, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
We're not stuck in the past where we might be, oh, I should have said this, or oh, this happened, or oh, like whatever story, or too far forward in the future, also in worry, anxiety, right? Like when we're not in our body and we're too much in our minds in that disconnection, that's when like
Mhm.
feel anxious or
Right.
bored or and so I have little signs for myself that show up of like, oh, huh, okay, maybe I need to connect in. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is that ease. Because when what for me I experience the most, I'll say, is again going a little bit to my story of 8 years old feeling like I was fat and I felt like I was not enough. I'm not enough was such a big, I wasn't enough because of how I felt like the shape of my body was. It meant I wasn't enough to have the relationship I wanted. I wasn't enough to really go after what I wanted in my business and career, right? Because who was I to show up? When I'm in my body, I feel my enoughness from the
Mm.
inside out, which is so different from I'm all for affirmations and all of that positive thinking, love that. But when I'm just only mentally thinking, I'm enough, right? Like it's like mental gymnastics. I'm trying to overpower, and there is an
Yeah.
exhaustiveness with
That's
that,
that's
right?
actually such a much better way than just doing affirmations, because it just drops you there.
Yeah. So I think that's a huge thing of like, oh, I feel my enoughness from the inside out. And
Yeah.
then when I go in and with my clients and, work like speaking on stage or networking or with my friends, with my loved ones, I'm really there. And I'm
Yeah.
not in that performative
Yeah.
projecting. So I think ease and like feeling that enoughness. Mhm.
And what you just said, and I'm just going to capture it, because I'm always working with my clients to help them figure out their one message for the world. You just said yours. When
I
you're
did.
in your body, when you're in your body, you're in your enoughness. I think that's what you said. It's
Yeah.
somewhere in that
Mhm. Mhm.
alignment like that. But that is exactly what you're talking about here, right?
Mhm.
Because it's that gets me to stop and think, it's like, okay, when I have those stories of something, it's like I can go back to even in the last week where I was like, oh, I should have done that differently. And
Yeah.
I was not in my body in that moment. Right. I mean, such a perfect example of like what I was, all the stuff that was going on in my head, and instead just dropping into my body and, and just moving forward from that moment and just not hanging back in that swirl, if you will.
That not hanging back in the swirl, not getting taken by the swirl, right?
Yeah.
Because the swirl will happen, the mental
Yeah.
chatter will happen,
Totally. It always
the
happens for all of
comparison,
us.
all
Yeah.
of it, right? I totally earlier this week too.
Mhm.
There's something I'm working on in my business that's a growth edge for me, and I was so in my mind and so in like the around it, right? And I had to like coach myself and realize like, hold the phone, Chica. Like maybe maybe just pause, right? And feel into the energy of what it is you're offering. And when I can
Yeah.
feel that, even that brings me in my body because it brings me into my joy and into my heart. And so I think it's key for all of us of being gentle, really gentle and compassionate and gracious with ourselves, of not
Mhm.
making it wrong, right? When we notice we're not in our body or in comparison, instead of like, oh, wow, can I slow that down sooner and
Yeah.
not get taken by the swirl? Hmm.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
it. So, what does it mean to live in alignment as a woman, and how do you return to that when life pulls at you? I mean, so, we're talking a bit about that, but do you have any clues for to helping like come back to that space?
It's a great question. And I love that specifically, like how you asked, like for women, how does that feel? I mean, what I will say is, I think women, a lot of us, right, holds a lot of
Yeah.
roles where we're supporting a lot of other people.
Mhm.
And that's incredible. And we have an incredible capacity. And I think often, unfortunately, women, we can lose ourselves in that process of holding and supporting for so many others. And
Mhm.
so it's almost like what comes to me is like that pull, right? It's pulling you. I think a lot of in my work of our line, capital L line, which would
Mhm.
line up, you mentioned the chakra system earlier, totally, correlates with the chakra or central axis. But thinking of a plumb line going down the center of your body from the crown of your head to the out through the center of your pelvic floor.
Mhm.
And I'm sharing that because most, in the context of this, and for listening, it might be hard to connect to, but being guided, it can be a simple thing that a lot of people can connect into. And I
Mhm.
think that's important to start to feel because that can help us when we start to feel that overly pulled in all directions. It's usually
Mhm.
you're off of your own line, meaning you're
Yeah.
energetically too leaned forward or you're energetically too leaned back. But I
Mhm.
think specific signs that, like, when someone's out of alignment, I do think is when we start to have a lot of heightened sensations. One could be just physical, like, you know, pain.
Mhm.
It could be like higher levels all of a sudden of like anxiety, going into depressive low points. But there's usually signs of either physical or emotional
Clues.
that we get,
Yeah.
exactly clues that when that's heightened, I think is a good time to not automatically try to just change it or fix it, not doing that at all, instead
Mm.
acknowledging, oh wow, whatever the experience is of, oh wow, I'm noticing I'm in kind of in a lower depressive state. What might that be related to or connected to? Or could that be I'm living out of alignment in regards to my needs and my wants,
Mhm.
in an effort to, because I think I should be doing this thing, or
Yeah.
this person wants me, so I need to be there for them. And so I'm in the process leaving myself or not honoring myself.
Mhm.
Um, I hope that
I like
wasn't
that.
too all over.
No, it makes sense. It's like really tuning into what is there and listening and being with it, because I think, a lot, I mean, I know my inclination is to like, okay, I notice that, and then I just jump over and start doing something different. And that's not going to really serve us.
Mhm.
I know
And
you're
it doesn't have
using,
to be a long thing, right? Because I
yeah.
totally get that too, right? It's like, oh, well, I got to go to the next thing on my to-do list, or, oh, my calendar is telling me now I have this thing. It's like, could you even in between when you use the toilet, when you fill up your water glass, right? Or like, could you just for 1 minute just sit and breathe and be with yourself? I think that
Yeah.
one of the biggest gifts of like, if we really want to connect into our worthiness and really experience our worthiness, is literally spending even just a few moments, few minutes every day, actually being present with
Yeah.
what is for us and acknowledging that. When we acknowledge what is like our true experience without trying to change it, I think that's like such a way that a woman can really be like, wow, I'm worthy of being connected to myself. I'm worthy of feeling what is and
Yeah.
not needing to change it or bypass it or, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like it. So you use fascia, is it fascia or fascia?
Fascia.
Like
I
how
say fascia.
fascia,
Mhm.
fascia release and nervous system work in your approach, which I've not actually really done a lot of fascia work, but I have done a lot of nervous system work. And it's
Mhm.
like anything that we're tapping into, like what's going on in our body and paying attention and learning about that, I think is just a really good thing. So, what role do these play in healing and wholeness? And especially, let's talk a bit about the fascia release
Mhm.
because I think that's
Sure.
something unique and different.
Yeah. Well, I got excited when you're like, oh, I haven't really done much of that. I'm like, oh, you are in for a treat.
Yeah, yeah.
So our fascia is our, I think of it as our soft tissue skeleton.
Mhm.
So if you were to, I'm just going to give a little context of what fascia is, and then we'll speak to, yeah, the release and the importance of that. But if you were like to take away the fascia, muscles would literally be juice. Muscles would have no shape without the fascia. It's
Okay.
inside. It goes around to a single teeny tiny muscle fiber. Then, of course, in the muscle belly is more fascia. Then there's more fascia between muscle groups. The fascia is what holds our organs in place. The fascia is everywhere, and it has both elastic and fibrous properties, and we need both. We need that fibrous collagen matrix laid down to give us structural integrity, right? To hold things
Mhm.
together.
Mhm.
We need that elasticity, that more like interstitial fluid hydrating part to be able to move with ease, right? For muscle groups to be able to glide and slide on top of each other. And what happens with repetitive movement patterns, aging, stress, the weight of gravity on us, the way we hold ourselves, carry ourselves, injuries, etc., is we become overly fibrous,
Mhm.
overly rigid in certain parts of the fascia, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
we start to lose mobility. We start to lose the ability for our muscle groups to differentiate and glide and slide. So our body kind of starts to get pulled out of alignment,
Interesting.
as well as I really believe, and I've been working with the fascia for at least 14 years now. I believe this from my own personal experience and with my experience with clients, that our fascia is actually what stores and carries our consciousness, our emotions, our traumas.
Wow.
Depending on someone's belief system, if you believe in past lives, like I think for sure, like ancestral trauma, but maybe
Yeah.
even things from previous lives.
Uh-huh.
And so I really see the health and of our fascia directly connected to our overall sense of well-being and how we
Mhm.
feel in our body and how we experience our body. And just like you had that experience in the yoga class, right? Of okay,
Mhm.
we're connecting with the throat chakra and had this huge emotional release. That will sometimes happen on my Rolfing table. Not always, right? Because I'm also thinking titration, specifically in regards to the nervous system. I don't want to overwhelm someone's system with a big release
Uh-huh.
that we can't quite titrate it, right? Meaning
What's
integrate
that
it.
mean?
Titrate,
Integrate? Yeah.
integrate. What I think about integrate
No,
is,
I know integrate, but what's the
oh,
titrate word? I don't know
titrate.
that word.
So it's a word from chemistry. So
Okay.
if you think of like titration, meaning like what I think of is, I used to love chemistry. I was going to be a pharmacist actually.
Okay.
um, thank goodness, life pivoted me. But so if they're thinking of like a solution and like a pH, right? They're wanting to titrate the solution to get the correct amount,
Okay.
levels to create what they're wanting to create. So when I think of titration specific to how I just used it, we're not wanting to overwhelm someone's system or body in a way that maybe they're not resourced enough to sustain, to be able
Mm,
to like breaks them open, and then it's like you go back to life, and how do you manage that or hold that, or it was too much
right.
too soon, or unintentionally awaken a trauma response that they can't quite handle, right? So
Okay.
I'm always thinking in all levels of my work, of whether I'm hands-on with a client, whether we're coaching, because most of my coaching is very somatic based. I'm guiding them into the body, and we're
Mm-hmm.
going into these sensations and moving them in that way
Mm-hmm.
of how can I help like give just enough, right? So we're
Right.
going on edges, but not too much
Okay.
that they can't handle that.
Wow,
Makes
that's
sense.
fascinating. That's really
Yeah.
fascinating. So you're helping them get to a space where you're helping them kind of break through some, but
Mhm.
just to the right level. So the next time you're working with them, they can go a little bit further.
Yeah, I'm always
Yeah,
tracking. I'm always
yeah,
tracking people and tracking their
yeah,
systems, tracking the field. Yeah, yeah. That
yeah.
might be
I
a
love
role
that.
that other people know more. But with the fascia, I think in regards to if we are thinking of like leadership and really wanting to live a more aligned life and be true to you, it's so helpful when the body is also on board, right? Our bodies are always wanting to move towards balance. They just need the correct input to help go that way. And so, there's so many things people can do on their own. One, I'm a huge fan of foam rolling. Foam rolling doesn't have to be painful. This is my
Mm-hmm.
like preach
That's
moment.
a
I'm
good
like,
thing to know because I've
yes,
experienced the painful.
everyone's like, oh my God, it's so intense. And it's like, oh, it must like the more intense, the better. No, no.
Yeah.
You should have a soft density foam roll. Not you should, but I'm a huge proponent of a soft density foam roller and these
Mm-hmm.
other balls anyway, but that are gentle, more important, that allow the body to melt, right? And
Mm-hmm.
soften into it versus like, we're meeting more rigidity, more resistance.
Right.
If and so for people who start to connect the little like emotional part of it of wow, maybe you start to track of okay, wow, I have this anxiety, right? I have this anxiety or I have this heaviness. Where do I feel that in my body? Oh wow, I feel it here. Oh yeah, I'm actually also really tight there, or it feels constricted.
Mm-hmm.
You could find ways to help soften that through doing some gentle fascia unwinding, whether it may even just be laying on a towel, right? And
Right.
breathing into that
Mm-hmm.
area present. But so it's a great way to start to really bridge that world of the emotional, energetic, and physical through as we help the fascia. What the way I see the fascia is like this beautiful crystal and structure, kind of like a spider web. And when
Mm-hmm.
it's unhealthy, disordered, it's kind of an ugly, it's just like disorganized. And we can create more organization through tending to it intentionally, which I think then allows a higher level of how we operate, how we feel. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
it's like working with that tissue to release and let let
Free.
whatever's being held there, yeah, to free.
And there
Okay.
could be
Excellent.
an old story there. Sometimes tears come and we don't even know really
Yep.
why, right? Some
Hmm.
story and
Yep.
allowing that all to unwind and oh wow, I'm actually now feel even better in how I stand and how I carry myself
Super
and
cool.
yeah,
Super
and it can
cool.
be gentle. It can be so
Yeah,
gentle. Mhm.
I love it. So what will you be bringing to us at Ignite?
I'm so excited to be at Ignite. So I'll be sharing on own the room. That'll be one of the
Hmm.
things. And so really, how what I'll be sharing in that is some specific in the moment practices of how, like a lot of what we're talking about, right? We're like intellectually talking about it,
Hmm.
which is great. And like, oh, how do we actually apply this? So
Yeah.
how to unlock energy, confidence, and success through your body, like really seeing your body as I think like your secret weapon in business, your secret weapon in life, right? So
Yeah.
being an ally with your body
Yeah.
instead of trying to fix your body, right? Let's create an allyship with our body and some supportive practices to wow how to actually be here.
Yeah.
Because I do know that for it seems to be a lot of the women sometimes that I get as clients will be told like, oh yeah, I've heard for years it's like drop into your body, but I don't know what that means.
Hmm.
And so one of
Hmm.
the things I'll be bringing is how do we actually do that? And there's different entry points, right, for everyone, but oh right, you can actually have a sense of I'm dropping into my body, and from there, wow, I feel my presence expand. I feel like more in my leadership. I can feel if I desire how to magnetize the room.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And it's to me, I was as soon as you and I first started talking, I heard about the work that you're doing here, and how that is how you're helping women drop into their bodies because that is something I do talk about a lot. Is I'll talk about the somatics. I
Mhm.
do the equine assisted coaching, which actually helps people drop into their
Oh,
body in such a
I like
beautiful
that.
way.
Yeah.
I've done the art of feminine presence, which helps your body
Yeah.
drop into to that.
I'm
So
a
it's
teacher
like,
of art of feminine presence too.
oh, you are. That's awesome. That's totally
Hmm.
awesome. So it's
Hmm.
like that kind of work is what really helps us find that center and attract more people into our businesses, because people feel you, they lean into you, they want to be a part of your world. So it's such a I think it's really important. So I'm super thrilled that you're going to be bringing that to
Thank
Ignite.
you. I'm
Yeah,
excited. I'm really looking forward to it too and getting to share
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So in the meantime, where can people learn more about you and follow you?
Yeah. So my website's just emilywishall.com.
Mhm.
Wishall, like we wish all a Merry Christmas. It's a compound word. Just wish all. And I do have a free practice on my homepage. It's called Stop
Cool.
the Body Hate. And that's
Uh-huh.
a nice way for anyone who's listening. If you have kind of been feeling like just disconnected from your body, or like you're at battle with your body, or just like you would like more tools of, well, how do I drop in, right? It is a little foreign or it's new. It's a guided meditation that I take you through being how to slow down that mental chatter, right? Of
Mhm. Mhm.
whatever story might be telling you that's not your capital T truth, and land into your body. So
Yeah.
that's a great just free resource there, and a
That
good
sounds
way
awesome.
to start or continue on. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
embodiment journey. Mhm.
Awesome. And then the final question I always ask is, what are three pearls of wisdom you want to leave with us today?
Three pearls of wisdom. Well, I think the first thing is um, allowing this everything we're talking about is simple, right? It might not be easy, but it's simple. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be another like to do. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, one pearl, I mean, this is more of a practice and a pearl of wisdom, but would be literally take just 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning. Don't get on your phone, don't get on your screen, and just breathe. Just be with
Yeah.
yourself. And just
Yeah.
notice that simple action of literally 5 minutes, how that shifts your day, right? When you start with checking
Yeah.
in with yourself. Um, I got to give two more pearls of wisdom. Two other pearls of wisdom would be that I mean you are enough. That whatever that you don't have to be at battle of your body. I mean, I think that's huge. I think a lot of women who have been dealt with body dysmorphia, not liked their body, don't know that there's a way out because they've tried so many things, right? They've tried the fad
Mm-hmm.
diets, the cleanses, etc. And like, there is a way out. We don't have to live in this constant preoccupation of trying to fix our body or trying to get the right diet or etc. Right? We
Mm-hmm.
can
Mm-hmm.
actually have our life force and energy to put towards what our purpose in this world is. And I think just that alone with the of knowing that there is a way out, right? And it's through actually learning how to reconnect, that reconnection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think that would be the third, that reconnection with your body is possible. Whatever
Yeah.
age, state, whatever your story is it's never too late. And yeah, maybe
Thank you
go
so
stand
much.
barefoot on the earth if it feels challenging. That's what comes is
Exactly.
to help, right? Stand barefoot on the earth in the sun. And
I do
yeah,
it all the time. It's such a good practice to just put our bare feet onto the ground. So
yeah,
I love it. Emily,
yeah.
this has been so much fun. Thank you for all your good wisdom today. And I can't wait to be in the room with you at Ignite. For those of you who want to come join us and get to meet Emily face to face and get to be in the room of amazing women, it's at cammygellner.com/ignite. And we've got early bird tickets on sale right now. So get out there and grab your ticket. And Emily, I can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here, Cami. This was fun. And yeah, I hope to see some of the listeners at Ignite for sure, and get to be in that experience together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.